My name is Marc Güell. So I'm a tenure track professor here at Pompeu Fabra University. I am relatively new, so I arrived 3 years ago. My lab, we do applied genetic biology. So we have mainly two research lines. One which is developing technology for gene therapy, and then another line where we engineer the skin microbiome, also mostly for therapeutic applications. So my background, so before UPF, I spent 7 years in Boston in the Department of Genetics of Harvard Medical School, where mainly I was developing technologies for engineering genomes, CRISPR, and we applied them to different things, to genome refactoring, and also to engineer pigs to generate organs for transplants. And then I was, before that, actually, I was trained as a telecommunications engineer, and I also studied a degree in chemistry, and I did my PhD in biosciences, and then is when I started until 2010 when I moved to Boston, and then 2017 is when I came back here to Spain, and I started my position at Pompeu Fabra University. Actually, I would define, there are many definitions of synthetic biology, but actually the one that I like the most is a very simple one. So basically, it's the branch of science and engineering that basically builds new elements with biological systems. So it's really engineering of biological systems. I decided to work in synthetic biology. I have always liked a lot to build things. Actually, I also like a lot molecular technologies, and definitely the paradigm where I feel more motivated is in the engineering the biosphere. I think biological systems have these amazing properties, right? We can just observe our world, right? Animals made with the same elements as you and me. They are resistant to cancer. They can basically live forever, or even resist the cosmic radiation. So really, by combining different elements of biological systems, we can build incredible things, not only for therapy, but also for industrial products, information storage, and many, many more. So actually, the decision to came back to Barcelona and to the UPF actually, so it was a difficult one. So had options to go to other places, but actually at the end, I decided to come to here the PRBB and the UPF system, because I think it's an excellent biosciences hub. So actually, there's very good basic science researchers, and every time more and more, even also a little bit of applied sciences. And I think it's really a great place to work. And also, I think UPF is a university which probably is a bit younger than the other ones in the area, and it has some, I think, special focus on research, which, I think it makes it a very appealing place to be. So in my lab, we essentially develop different technologies that could be useful for engineering biological systems. So one of the projects that we have spent a big amount of time is actually in developing a technology that can do cut and paste into genomes. So basically, it combines the precision of CRISPR with the gene transfer capacity of transposases and integrases. So then we can go to specific places in the genome and insert a large payload that could be, for example, a therapeutic gene. That's one example from the mammalian genome engineering that we are doing. And then also we are developing tools to embed in our skin microbiome. And from that point of view, we develop for example, different circuits, some circuits that can basically do sensing of basically inputs from our body, and also to deliver payloads that could do modulation of the immune system, the cell production of the skin. So yeah, these are two examples. Yeah, actually, I think there are two sides. I think, of course, this time is hard for everyone, but the difficulties of the pandemic, these pandemic times, I think we have two phases of the situation. One is I think the work in the lab is not that bad, because at the end, scientists, we are used to work with lab code, with personal protection equipment. It's kind of a pretty much individual work. So this more experimental side, of course, with the restrictions, with less people, we can still do things. However, the part that we miss the most is the social interactions, which are, of course, key in science, right? We continuously travel to meetings, we meet with collaborators, we have internal meetings here, and of course, this is not possible right now. We are all the time in Zoom, in these video calls, and of course, I think this is a part that we all miss a lot, and I think it's an important component. But well, hope that with the vaccines we will recover it. We will recover it soon. So in this, so especially when we had the first COVID wave, it was quite tough because of course we had to reorganize the lab in nothing within a few days. And really we didn't know exactly what was going to come, and so we had to really shut down most of our activities. We could only keep very basically activity on very specific projects. And yeah, we had to mostly close the lab for all those weeks when we had the hard confinement. And yeah, and it was a kind of very strange situation. So we tried to advance at least all the work that we could do from home, like meetings, reorganizing projects, also reading a bit the literature. But of course, it's difficult to work from home because especially, you have the kids at home, especially the ones that have kids. So yeah, it was difficult times. I think at the end it went reasonably well, given the general situation. But yeah, it was an intense experience. I think Barcelona has some very good things. One is that somehow still attracts talent. So there is quite a lot of talent. There are really leading groups in research, world leading groups in certain topics, which I think is very good. So I think there is a very good level of basic science. Also, I think there are very good hospitals. And there is a growing engagement from the private sector. For example, the absolute values of venture capital invested in biotech is growing quite a lot since the last years. Of course, the absolute numbers are small still. From the point of view of private sector engagement, we are very far from places like Switzerland, and even more distant from places like Boston or San Francisco. I think there is a lot of homework to do. I think one very important is to engage more the R&D from the private sector, also to engage the companies, to create a healthy ecosystem, because I think this is good for everyone. It's good for the researchers, it's good for the companies, because they will be able to compete better in a modern world. And also it's good for the society in general. And the other part that I think it really needs to improve is the public funding. So Spain, maybe it's dedicating around 1% of the GDP in science. All the developed economies, they dedicate around 3%. And then you have cases like China that they had a double-digit increase in research budget for many years. And actually we'll have to catch up because this has created quite a lot of damage, I think, in the research ecosystem. Somehow people manage to keep doing, but of course there is a penalty. So I think that's a big thing to improve. It seems that the new government is willing to improve a bit the situation, but let's see if it's sustained, because this has to be sustained. These investments cannot be done 1 year and then next year forget about it. This needs to be long-term plans. So I think there are a lot of positive things, but also lots of things that we should improve.